Shalom. This week's Sedra is Sedra Eikev. As I give this Torah, I am celebrating 8 years of returning to Eretz Yisrael after a 10-year exile in America. Upon my return, I moved to a desert town called Sedra Eikev. Our town is surrounded by and sits on a mountain. As I explore the mountains, I noticed an odd phenomenon. The mountains would sprout water, they'd fill springs. It seemed that the mountains were filled with water bursting to exit the mountain. In fact, they were. Rain falls on the mountains here in the desert and sits in them for 40 or 50 years until they burst forth. The Torah is also often compared to water, which, like water, is free-flowing. No one said succeeding at Torah study was easy, but at the same time, it isn't impossible. The Mishnah in Pirkei Avos quoted two teachings that supported the notion that success in Torah study isn't impossible. Rabbi Tarfon said, "It's not your duty to finish the work, but neither are you at liberty to neglect it. If you have studied much Torah, you have been given much reward." This week's Torah portion features a crucial lesson about the ease of God's gifts and how easily they can be misused. Moshe told the people, "Keep the commandments of your God, walk in God's ways, and show reverence. For your God is bringing you into a good land, a land with streams and springs and fountains flowing from the valleys and the mountains. A land of wheat and barley, of vines, figs, and pomegranates, a land of olive trees and honey, a land where you may eat food without limit, where you will lack nothing, a land whose rocks are iron and from whose hills can mine copper. When you've eaten your fill, give thanks to your God for the good land that God has given you." The land with streams and springs and fountains flowing from the valleys and the mountains refers to the water that I see flowing from the mountains around Sedra Eikev every day. Ramban explained this verse, and he said, the meaning is that the land is like a watered garden that doesn't have to be irrigated by foot as the land of Egypt is. There are fountains and fountains of the deep. There are some fountains that flow from the very moisture of the mountains, which has been absorbed by them from the rains, or from the clouds that ascend upon them. These are called fountains. But there are other kinds of fountains which come forth from the interior of the depth of the earth, these being called deep waters, that is to say, the fountains of the depths. Our verse is stating that both kinds of fountains, the Ramban said, come in deep valleys and mountains. And the Chizkuni added, "For the Lord your God is about to bring you to a good land," means seeing it provides you with needs in abundance, there's a danger that you might forget God and sin. The water of the mountains is both a blessing and a test. It provides abundance, but can cause you to forget God and sin. The water is divinely provided with ease, and so too is the Torah. As Moshe taught us, the Torah which I give you today is not too challenging for you, nor is it beyond reach. It's not in the heavens, neither is it beyond the sea. No, the Torah is very close to you, in your mouth and in your heart to observe it. Just like the blessings of the water, the blessings of the Torah were given with ease. But just like the blessings of the water presents a challenge in that its abundance can cause the Jewish people to forget God, the Torah's ease can cause its students to forget that they must put all their efforts. As Rabbi Tarfon said, it's not your duty to finish the work, but neither are you at liberty to neglect it. The lesson of the available water in the mountains isn't just about God's blessings, but about the effort necessary for observing and studying the Torah properly. What a very important lesson. Shabbat Shalom.